So, welcome back. Another CPI Thoughtcast. Welcome, Kevin from Shopreme. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate the invitation. Thank you. Could you just start? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about Shopreme.
So, my name is Kevin Mueller. I'm Director of Retail Acceleration and Checkout Transformation at Shopreme. At Shopreme, we developed a unified self-checkout solution for brick-and-mortar retail, which means that we have created an ecosystem that comprises mobile scan and go, self-checkout kiosks, a dedicated exit solution, digital receipts, also for the traditional checkout. And retailers just need one integration with the Shopreme ecosystem. They can then pick and choose per store what clients they want to have in the store and provide to their customers.
Wow, nice. There's a lot going on.
It is. There's a lot going on. I mean, we went live with Aldi last year in May.
Right.
So that was, of course, a fantastic project. We also serve retailers such as Labor Group. We serve retailers such as the XXX Lutz Group, Dole Hamels Group, to some of the big players, and also Auchan, from France and Poland and Romania. So, yeah, so it's been quite a success. I mean, maybe if I go back a little bit, so we've been working on Scan and Go for more than 8 years.
Right.
But we did the spin-off in 2020 after winning Müller in Austria in 2019. And so after 3 years after the spin-off, we already, had millions of transactions of retailers, some of the biggest retailers in Europe. So it's a good time to be in self-checkout and in retail technology.
Yeah, some great growth. So how did you get involved with Shopreme? You been involved from the start, or?
So I joined Shopreme 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
Before that, I was in technology consulting for Bearing Point. So I did that for almost 10 years.
Right.
And then, so my hometown is Graz. It's the second largest city in Austria. Shopreme is based in Graz. And I got a call and they answered, what do you think about our solution? They showed me the solution. It was so brilliant that I said, right, that's what I want to, want to do.
Nice. So you guys are exhibiting here, right? Do you remember whereabouts? Just so people.
Of course, our booth is DO3 in Hall 10.
Hall 10. Excellent. I did go to the booth earlier. It's very impressive. Big, very engaging.
Yeah, and we got fantastic coffee. So, just
probably better than us. Yeah. Excellent. So could you just dig in a little bit more into the problems that Shopreme are solving for customers? How do you do things differently?
I mean, there's many challenges in retail, right? Two main challenges. So the first thing is, of course, it's getting harder and harder to find frontline staff, right? It's not easy to find someone who wants to work in frontline retail anymore, which means that queues are, of course, queues at the checkout are a problem because it binds a lot of resources at the checkout, which you don't really have. So the people you still have in the store, they are quite overstrained. The million other tasks in the store, because if we think of autonomous stores that are using CV technology, everybody talks about how you can reduce, the staff required at the checkout. There's, of course, everything else that you need to do, whether that is restocking shelves, cleaning up, changing shelf labels if there are no electronic shelf labels, checking cooling temperatures, doing the warehouse, all the other things that you need to do in the store. So the checkout is one of those things. And so at the moment, it's not really about how can we replace employees at the store. That's not our goal because there is no one to replace anyway. It's rather how can we keep the store staff that is still there sane by taking some of the pressure off them by reducing queues or reducing resources needed for the checkout. That's one challenge. The second challenge is that we know that customers today are so spoiled by all the fantastic experiences they have on their smartphone that they also expect digitally enhanced customer journeys when they visit brick and mortar retail. And of course, they don't want to wait in a queue anymore, but they want to shop at their own pace. And so these are the two things, the main challenges that we solve. And then, of course, there's a lot of value-added features and services that we provide, such as retail media elements that then also enhances the customer journey, tries to, get a new product in the evoked set and inspire them on the store floor. So that is really what we do.
Yeah, I noticed the retail media thing at the stand. Well, could you dig into that a little bit more? Or is it that you're doing differently there? Because retail media has become a really buzz thing. What are you guys doing there?
It is, it's now spilling over to Europe, right? So something that's been very big and popular in the US already, where every retailer has a retail media network platform, and now all the retailers in Europe waking up and smelling the coffee, right? So, but we've been preaching this for a few years now, that by providing a scan and go solution on the store floor, so the customers are using the smartphone on the store floor, you can suddenly provide all the great things from online shopping that help customers make purchase decisions while they're on the store floor, in front of the shelf and in front of the product and customer. And that's a beautiful thing. So what are the things that inspire us when we shop online? So that is things, all the information that the retailer can provide us in the online platform, right? Ratings, reviews, multimedia content, descriptions, even recipes at grocery retail chains or DIY ideas at online hardware stores, right? The information that you can provide online is a lot better than the information you get on the back of the package for most products. But because we suddenly have a screen in front of the customer on the store floor, all the things that help us make online purchase decisions online, all the things that make us yes to a product, that they can suddenly be displayed on the store floor. And that can be very engaging, very inspiring. And that helps you to really wake up those sleepwalking customers that just know, I need milk, flour, and eggs. But suddenly you can also show them what else is there in the store. Right?
Yeah, that's really interesting. Do you ever get any feedback that sometimes there's a little bit information overload, or how do you manage that? And it's just certain points? Or
for that, it's important to understand that we position ourselves as an invisible technology provider. So we give retailers all the tools they need to provide self-checkout and mobile self-checkout or unified self-checkout to their customers. But what they make of it is really it's really up to the retailers. So if they decide to display so much information, so many elements that they overload their customers, then we would probably say, I don't know if that's such a good idea, but in the end, it's up to the retailer. So they pick and choose the elements that they want to provide and show to the customers. Now, providing retail media on a smartphone is one thing, but then it's also, because we have our exit solution with a large screen, we have our self-checkout kiosk with beautiful screens. There's another space where you can display ads or information to get customers back into the store. It's a final touch point within the store. So we think of an exit solution. There I don't want to display a product ad for a product that I have in store. But what I would like to display there is maybe something that is in store during the next promotional period to get the customer back into the store. But it's the very last touch point. And so they could, of course, display a product ad there for a product in the store, but it's probably not the most or the best thing to do, but try to get them back into the store the next few days, right? So it's really up to the retailer. What data do they have? Do they have a recommendation engine? So we can also display recommendations on the store, whether that's complementary product recommendations or personalized recommendations, or if they just want to display some additional product information to the retailer and, of course, the information they have at hand in their systems.
Yeah, that makes sense. Excellent. So you guys just said you're based in Austria.
Mm-hmm.
And you're serving certain area regions in Europe. Is that right? Is it anywhere beyond that? I'm sure. Did you have a recent rollout in the US with Aldi? Is that right?
I know it's not right, but of course we would be delighted.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is. The US is of course a very tough market for various reasons. So when I said before that retail media is such a big topic in the US, mobile scan and go, so self-checkout is a lot bigger in Europe than it is in the US. And so this is now spilling over into the US. There's, of course, a big buzz around self-checkout and retail shrink in general.
Yeah.
That we always get asked and always get confronted with by US retailers. And I think everybody who tried to, breach into the US market knows how tough it can be. And so, but of course, that is something that we definitely like to do. And that's also why we are at NRF in New York, in Shop Talk in Las Vegas, grocery shop. So we are there, we are present, but it takes a little bit more time in the whole markets. But in Europe, we are, as I said, live in Romania, Poland, the Netherlands, Germany, Austria, and in the Czech Republic. And of course, because we're working with multinational retailers, eventually we'll spill over in other countries, European countries, or the US as well.
Yeah, makes sense. Can we talk a little bit more about that retail shrink element? Because it certainly comes up a lot. I think there's a lot of negative sentiment around self-checkout and how it adds to shrink. What are your thoughts on that, and how do you guys talk about it?
So I think that oftentimes there's this distortion of the whole topic because, just to give an example, imagine there was a grocery retailer that never did self-checkout before in the UK, and they introduced self-checkout in January 2022. They already, so the economy was already strained by Brexit, the economy was already strained by COVID. And then in February 2022, the Ukraine war started, and there was the energy crisis that further contributed to inflation.
Yeah.
And so just because they introduced self-checkout doesn't mean that this is the reason why shrink rises. There are macroeconomic factors that might also contribute to that. And then so sometimes there's maybe a distortion of, so is the cause really self-checkout, or is it something bigger than that, right? Now, of course, and if you are here at Eurosys and you walk around and you look at all the brilliant technologies and vendors that provide solutions to reduce shrink, then you know that via integration, there's a lot of things that you can do also for self-checkout. How we tackle self-checkout, it depends a little bit on the client. And with that, I mean, whether it's the self-checkout kiosks or is it mobile scan and go, is we always look at it from a psychological perspective, a technological perspective, and a human perspective as well. So psychologically, that's all the things that you can display to a customer to prevent them to even try to, not scan or not pay for something. So that is, in a mobile self-checkout solution, anything from the onboarding, where they know how it works, because if they don't know how it works, there could be erroneous scans. Yeah. But it's also telling them that there might be spot checks, asking them before payment, have you made sure that you scan all your items, all these things. So that's one thing. Another thing that we have is our exit solution, where there's a gate. So if you're in a self-checkout area and you see that there's a gate, probably you won't even try it, because you can't simply walk out without having paid for everything. Yeah. And then the technological pillar, that is really our algorithm that picks baskets for spot checks. There are various parameters. For example, what's the time between scans? How often was an item added and then removed again? But also the combination of items or certain thresholds. So for example, if you have 10 items that are all under €1.50, then I might want to take a look, because did you just not scan the more expensive items, or why, right? So there's many factors that are really leading to the chance of a spot check to rise. And then there's also, during the spot check with an employee, they use an employee application to do a rescan of the products, either a side check, a partial rescan, or full rescan. At the end of that, they can mark the basket as okay or not okay. And if it's marked as not okay, then the chance that this customer is checked again in the future rises. And so we are taking a close look at those customers who do not play by the rules, and we want to make the checkout speedier for those customers who always scan everything, always pay everything, because they should be rewarded, right? And then, of course, if someone never plays by the rules, there's always something that they forgot to scan, then as a retailer, you always must be clear that what you're providing is to your customer. Of course, you want to provide a great service, but this is a privilege and not a right. And if someone never sticks or plays by the rules, then you also want to say that, I'm sorry, we want to provide a great service. We also want to protect our revenues, and so we blacklist this device, and you can't purchase with this device with Scan and Go anymore at our store. You need to go to the traditional retailer and wait in the queue again. So this is a bit of the idea. And then, of course, it's employee training, a lot of employee training that you can do to detect fraud during those spot checks.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Excellent. So run us through some really good capabilities of Shopreme. Could you give us an example of a project that was a recent project, maybe, that was a really good example of how you guys bring value?
So I think what we are doing, the project that we have with Aldi in the Netherlands, that is a fantastic example, because they utilize the biggest part of our ecosystem. So they have self-checkout kiosks in their stores in the Netherlands. They have our X solution and Scan and Go, so they provide all of that.
Yeah.
And that is just, so for me, it's always when I'm in the Netherlands, I'm in the store, for me it's fantastic to see that we create the solution. And there we are at the moment, so you can find a list online where our stores in the Netherlands are, but we have stores in small villages. And the idea behind it is that if we So self-checkout must work for everyone, not just next to university, right? So it also needs to work in those little villages where the average age might be 60 plus.
Yeah.
And if you walk into those stores and you spend some time in those stores and you suddenly see, an elderly woman using a smartphone to scan items, a small kid helping her mom to scan items at the self-checkout kiosk, that is very, very rewarding, and it makes us very proud, because it shows that you created a solution that is so intuitive, right, that it works for everyone. You can reach a broad spectrum of customers. And that is something where it's really cool to see that only after 3 years, we are, enriching shopping journeys in those countries across all age groups. And it is, for me, that is very, very rewarding.
Yeah, and impactful. And it's very important, especially with this kind of technology. what are some of the challenges when you're doing projects like that? What have been the main things that Shopreme have found that needed to overcome?
Yeah. I think that, so what we do is, of course, from all those projects with large retailers, we are in the great position to have gathered a lot of experience and information. And in the new project, we can share it with retailers to say, look, this is a marketing measure that worked pretty well to, raise attention for the solution. It's very important. So if you want to have high usage rates, that's very important. But usage rates of scan and go in a bring your own device mode, that can be challenging. And a lot of retailers face that if they develop the solution themselves. But we do then marketing workshops with them. Look, those are some physical marketing or advertising elements you can use to raise awareness with your customers. So that's one challenge that a lot of retailers have that is a little bit difficult for it. But then another challenge could be that getting everyone on board, the employee training. So we say that retailers need to be very committed to self-checkout. If they want to get it right, they need proper employee training. And I can give you an example of one retailer we went live with in the past, where I went through the store with the CEO. He was like a whirlwind rushing through the store, assigning tasks, most of them not related to self-checkout. At the end of the journey, he told me, he turned around to the regional sales manager and the store manager, and he said, look, and that was in the pilot and family and friends space, from now on, every employee at the store needs to check out User Scan and Go, because they need to be champions of their solution. How can we expect our customers to like the solution if our employees don't even know how it works? And now, so they have incredibly high usage rates, much higher than, so they are at an average between 10-15% in the bring your own device mode, which already enables you to rethink your stores. And during peak times, their employees go to the entrance area and ask them, don't you want to try Scan and Go? It's fantastic. It's a brilliant new way of checking out, and this contributes to those high usage rates. So make your employees champions of such solutions, take away the fears they might have, so they also promote this to customers. That helps you to get high usage rates. Of course, in addition to having a good solution, doing large rollouts, because of course, the more stores you've rolled out, the more communication, social media is a thing, and so everybody talks about it someday. And then also get all the different departments of your organization on board, make some changes to your store, especially also your checkout area. There's some homework that retailers also need to do. And one of the challenges is that some retailers might in the beginning not think about these things. I think they're not that important, but we can by now tell them quite confidently, do those things and it will work. Leave out some of those checkboxes. It will still work, but maybe it doesn't reach its full potential. If you don't tick any of those boxes, you will probably never take off. And so that is one of the challenges, also convincing retailers that they need to put weight behind such solutions if they really want it to work.
Yeah, makes sense. What about some of the technology barriers, POS integration, any of those kind of things in your face?
I mean, I have to say that is actually quite straightforward. So, of course, we by now have built quite a portfolio of standard integrations, which is quite beneficial in new projects, because we can say, this payment service provider done it already, right? And so this makes our offering more competitive. But there might be, so I'm too far away from the real technical legwork to really tell you what the technological challenges are when it comes to integration. But for now, I can just say it's been fantastic to work with our partners, and I could list a whole range of partners now. They're all here, of course, as well. I think everybody is really working together to make those projects a success, because everybody realizes how strategic this is, that the whole self-checkout topic is for retailers. Mm-hmm. And so integration has not been our biggest pain for now.
Good. All right, so we talked a lot about some new areas Shopreme are moving into. What are the big business goals of 2024? New products, geographic expansion, what's the thinking?
There's so much going on. Where should we start? I don't know, but of course, we want to work with our retail partners where we are already live, for them to expand, get more confidence also in the solution, because as you know, with multi-country or multinational corporations, there's many people who have a say in, do we now roll out in a new country? Do we go into more stores? And so that is, of course, something that we want to work on. So giving them even more confidence, and yes, something that you can just roll up very quickly and efficiently, and data shows that it works. Then, of course, winning new customers, going into new markets, always an important goal, and something that we work on. And that's why we will be at Shop Talk in Vegas. We will be at the Retail Technology Show in London. We will be at the NRF APAC. We will be at Grocery Shop. We will be at Shop Talk in autumn, and the Paris Retail Week. So there's a lot going on because we don't see any barriers. Of course, there's some markets where there are barriers, but for Europe, a lot of the APAC countries and the US, some Northern America and Southern America, we don't see any challenges. And that's why we always need to be very present in all those markets. And so that it's our goal to expand quite rapidly, because we also have an investor. Our investor is Müller, which is one of the largest Austrian companies. They've been in manufacturing for more than 150 years. So they design and produce the hardware while we develop the software that runs on it. They are in store fitting for more than 70 years, and they do everything from discount to luxury. So they also have discounters, but they also do some things for Harrods in London. So they have the retail experience and manufacturing experience, and also they are this extended workbench that can also provide those hardware services in all those markets that are relevant for us. And therefore, for us, there's hardly any barrier to go into new markets. And that is a very important goal for us. Get into new markets, make a splash with all those new countries, because I think everyone in every country deserves to shop in a very frictionless, convenient, and beautiful way.
I like it. Good soundbite. Love that. Thank you. Excellent. So moving on a little bit to the macro market, we talked about Shopreme, we talked about self-checkout. What are some of the challenges you think retailers are facing at the moment, or maybe in the short term and longer term?
In the short term and long term, also, I'm not a retail prophet, of course, but and it's always difficult to make predictions. But we can see, of course, some of the challenges that we try to overcome with our technology are also challenges that will get more severe in the future. And retailers, of course, need to work on implementing solutions now and not when it's too late. And that is, for example, how do I still find store staff, but also for those people that I still have, how do I see that they don't burn out because they're so overstrained with all the other things? So that is something that will just be a challenge for retail, probably for the next decade. That is one thing. And then, of course, also the speed of technology is increasing so rapidly that as a retailer, of course, you finally, suddenly you find yourself confronted with 1 million battles you think you need to fight. But of course, I think focus on the most essential technologies and do those things properly, do those things right. That is very, very important. Don't get too distracted by too many things just because they pop up as a buzzword somewhere. Really try to make light of what's out there, what's really relevant for your business. And then, of course, and retailers are champions in that, as those large retail chains wouldn't have survived for such a long time. Understand that not every solution, so there's not a silver bullet for every retailer, but the customization, there's a high level of customization required, because every retailer, every store, every customer shops differently at every store, every retailer. And so you need highly adaptable solutions as well. And so trying to find technology partners that don't just say, look, that's what you get, and be happy with that, but that also, go the extra mile to say, we want to create the best solution for your customers, and therefore let's try to do any adaptation that you need to serve your customers best.
Yeah, that's excellent. I really like that. So there's a lot of options for retailers at the moment. No, we talked about the challenges, there's labor, there's lots of solutions here that are solving labor problems, solving lots of different things. How do you keep your solution top of mind for retailers when they've got all these different things to choose from? How do you make sure that that's kind of...
Here at Eurosys, that's of course how you present yourself with your booth. As you know, that's just a trade fair business. But in general, it's of course the sharing our success stories, going into workshops with retailers and say, look, how some of the largest retailers in the world do this. It's a completely new take on self-checkout, for example. So we're moving away from legacy systems that look and feel and sound like Windows XP to something that feels much more like the best application on your smartphone. And so that is something where we can just show the design and excellence and the success stories that we have. We sometimes share some pictures from the store where you can then see how happy shoppers are using our solutions. And that is how we can convince retailers. And we had retailers at NRF in New York, for example, where, one person so there was a larger group of retailers, all from the same retailer, but a larger group of stakeholders. And we were giving those presentations, and one said to the other, look, I think you're wasting your time. We have all that already. And after the presentations, and okay, that's actually brilliant. And he convinced us, and let's have a follow-up meeting, even if we have the solution already, because this is just so much better, right? So having this best-of-breed solution and showing that things can be done differently than people did it the past, or have done it for the past decade or 2 decades, that is really showing that there's a change. And every retailer also uses their phone every day. Every retailer is also a consumer.
Yeah.
So they have the same pains as other consumers, and so they also get that there's a new approach to these things.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, coming to the end here. So any other topics that you felt we could have listened? What questions should I have asked about Shopreme, design itself? Anything else?
It's a very good but also pretty cool one. I think we talked about a lot of the very important things, and a lot also about the buzz that's going on, like retail media. And I think that I would just suggest everyone to, as I said before, look very closely at what's out there in the market. Go in there with all those vendors, have those conversations, and try to really structure and organize all those impressions. Because I know that's difficult, especially if you're here. It can be very, very overwhelming.
Yeah.
But if some of the largest retailers in the world, some of them have never done self-checkout before, if they suddenly, take a look and then also go into a project with the new kids on the block, there must be something to it, because those are retailers that have been very prudent, but are very, very successful. And you don't get one of the most successful retail in the world by just stopping or just, standing still. These retailers have always reinvented themselves from, we start with a small mom and pop store to going to a service store, to a self-service store, to now having, rolling out globally and having thousands of stores. These retailers will not be that successful if they're not innovative, and if they then choose a solution like ours, and then also others, of course, vendors that are around here. There must be something to those solution providers that they must see the potential, and then also, go into a product. So that is what I would add.
What a great end. Well, thank you, Kevin. Really enjoyed that. Thank you so much. Good luck for 2024. And good luck with the rest of the show.
Thank you. Safe for you. And thank you for the time and invitation.
100%. Great.
Thank you.